Record on this computer. Okay, welcome to our team call. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for coming to the call tonight. I know there's so many of us that were traveling today. Literally, my phone was full of people saying, I don't know if I'm going to make the call, or, I'm going to have to catch the recording. Or we have like a couple girls in the UK that were like, I can't stay up till 1 a.m. I'm like, it's fine. I totally get it. So everyone's that's here, thank you for coming and showing up. And I think that says something about your business, and the commitment that you make to your business when you're here on a holiday and you're putting the time in to grow and learn, especially on a topic such as tonight's that is going to be so valuable in helping us continue to grow and maximize our time and creating a successful business. So as you guys saw, I made a post today about Amy. I'm muting Jess's audio. Okay, I made a post today about Amy, and it was the craziest thing that when my daughter was born, and I had this goal that if I could just find some help just to, kind of take the stress off my shoulders off of running reports and the recognition and creating all those pretty boards, because those aren't things that I love doing. I am so not talented in that area, and I'm such like a perfectionist everywhere else that I would sit on these PicMonkey photos for hours at a time trying to make something look so perfect that it was taking away from the productivity that I needed to be having because my time was limited. So I had been kind of seeking and telling my husband, like, I just need some help and, just a little bit, just like an hour or two each week or something just to free up a couple more hours for me. And I came across Amy. And it was really funny because I sent her a message and it was like totally weird, but there was something going on where the website that I sent a message to, it kind of came back to me as like a spam thing. And I was like, oh, this is too good to be true. So I sat on it for a couple days and I'm like, man, I thought this girl was legit. Like she had a Facebook ad going and like, I thought this was going to be like a really great opportunity and nothing happened. I forget what happened now. Maybe you remember, but there was something that came back to me and I was like, oh gosh, this is spam. I'm an idiot. So I sat on it for a couple days and then I ended up being like, you know what? I'm going to search this girl on Facebook and see if she's real. So I searched her on Facebook and I sent her a message. I'm like, hi, I filled out some application on your website and like, I got this message back. And she ended up responding and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. She's like, there's some type of something going on with my website. I'm going to fix that right away. So lo and behold, Amy and I had our first call and we just connected right away. She's so down to earth and relatable, and she just cares so much about the people that she works with. And to me, that just meant so much that she tolerates my craziness and my 50,000 emails a day and me changing my mind about the way I want things to look 50,000 times a month. But she gets it and she's fine with it. And I love that. But more than that, guys, and why I really wanted to have her on our call tonight was because she's very smart and she brings a lot of value to the table. And I think it says something about, what we do in health and fitness, where we impact people and we create these businesses. But there's so many other entrepreneurial paths that you can take. And for Amy, like, what a great opportunity for her to create a business where she gets to assist other people and helping them, grow their business. And this is her business that she created on her time. So she's living that hustle entrepreneur life just like we are, but just in a different field. And, props to her for working her butt off to get her name out there and to learn all of the things that we invest in as coaches. She's out there teaching herself Facebook ads, Instagram, all of this social media amazingness that's going to make everything flow easier for her. And what do we do as coaches? We buy that social media training, right? We do all these things to shorten the time frame that it takes to learn it. And Amy's out there figuring it out for us to make it easy for us. So lucky for me, she agreed to hop on this call with us tonight and kind of share some things that she's learned and some things that she actually implements into her own business to help us. So I am so pumped to have you, Amy. Take it away whenever you're ready.
All right, so I'm excited to be here, and I probably will start talking louder and louder because the more excited / nervous energy I have, that's just kind of what happens. Let me preface this to say that I am going to use slides to help me keep on track, and I have notes, so I might look up or something like that too. But if you want a copy of the slides and my notes and anything like that, I'm more than happy to send them to you if you want them. So let me share my screen really fast. Hopefully technology works for us today. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let me just tell you just a little bit about myself and my business. Natalie did a really good job kind of explaining it, but just to give you a little bit more background. So I work with, as you know, Beachbody coaches, but bloggers, creative, and I implement efficient systems so they can build a thriving business without having to sacrifice really what matters the most to them. So I don't really believe in recreating a wheel. I want to find the most efficient way to do something from what's already out there and implement those systems to achieve your goals. So the system that I'm going to talk to you about, the 3-step content strategy process that I use, it's not world changing and it's not really even a different way to do something, and I didn't create an app or anything, but it's going to show you how to build a content system and process that relies on your strengths and builds a productive schedule. And you're going to produce like fresh content and not feel frustration and overwhelm. So, oops. Let's see if it'll work. Okay. So there's really only 3 steps that I use, and they're super simple. I plan ahead, I create the content, and I schedule it. And it's not difficult, it's super straightforward, and no wheels were created in this process whatsoever. So before I really go any further about creating the content, I just want to point out that if you have no clue where your audience is, who your avatar is, or their pain points, and you really have no objective or goal for your business or social media, you should designate time to do that first before creating any content and before scheduling and doing anything else. So one of my pro tips that I kind of give everyone when I'm starting working with social media is that you should create and complete a social media audit on all of your platforms. So what that is, it's going to give you a precise idea of where you should be spending your time. So for example, I currently have a Facebook, an Instagram, a Twitter, a LinkedIn, and a Pinterest. So all of the accounts. But I only focus on my main platforms. And for me, that's Instagram and Pinterest. And Facebook is like a third way, not really a big focus for me. So when I'm creating content, that's what I'm thinking about. I'm spending my time on Instagram. That's where my client is. That's what they're consuming. And then I'm going to take that content that I use on Instagram and repurpose it into my other platforms. So step 1, plan ahead. Most of you guys are probably going to fall into one of 2 categories. You have a plan, or you pretty much wing it. But the secret sauce is kind of doing a little bit of both. But for today, we're really going to be talking about the plan ahead. So I create a month's worth of content in 2 hours a month. So that's really because I really focus on this portion, plan ahead. And I use specific tools to help me accomplish staying ahead. One of the main things that I do is create a content plan. So a content plan is really simple, and you kind of have to find a solution that's going to work best for your business. Mine that I'm going to show you isn't going to work 100% for you, but hopefully you'll be able to adapt some of the principles to save you time going forward so that you can use it to convert your followers into challengers or new coaches for your team, whatever it is. So first of all, I suggest planning 90 days at a time and using a content calendar to track it. So 90 days, you can use like a printable calendar that you can print from the internet, a project management system like Asana or Trello, or Google Sheets, which is what I use. And I'm going to show you an example of mine. So this is just one of my Google Sheets that I use to organize my content and keep me on track. So they're all set up in 90-day blocks. And the reason why I plan in 90-day blocks is it's just long enough for me to make progress and achieve my goals, but it's short enough for me to stay focused and excited, which is really important to me. I have to be excited about what I'm doing and the content that I'm creating. And having a deadline really helps me to eliminate any procrastination on my behalf. So it kind of keeps me accountable in that way. So when I'm outlining my 90-day content, I'm taking into consideration and things that you can easily plug in without trying to think of different ideas are holidays. So a holiday's tomorrow, Thanksgiving, you'd easily be able to plug that into your content calendar. Easter, Thanksgiving, or I just said that, but or you can do like silly ones like National Donut Day. I definitely participated in that. I love donuts. Other things to include like upcoming promos, like if you plan a free challenge group, let's say the third Monday of every month or whatever it is, you know that you're probably going to be breadcrumbing about that free group the week before. And breadcrumbing could be social media posts, it could be an email newsletter. If you're writing blogs for a website, that would be included as well. Same with any other like program or conference or whatever it may be. Those promos and dates should be added onto here first. Something else to include is any dates if you're traveling to an event, you would add that, or a conference, add that to here too. Also, something that I take into consideration when I'm planning this is what exactly are my goals? Because my social media posts or my content should all be addressing or solving a particular problem in order to reach that goal. So for this next 90 days that I'm going to be working on, I'm going to be working on increased visibility. But a goal that you might have would be you want to lock in a certain number of Success Club points each month, or bring in a certain number of team members, or whatever it might be. You have to figure out how you can plug that in and then also evaluate so that you know what's working. And that's kind of where the social media audit comes into play. So not only should you do it before you get started, but it should be a continual process for you. And this really just kind of takes into consideration that you're making baby steps each day towards your goal and not like one giant leap at the end of the month to reach your goal. So planning your content. We've already plugged in the dates that we already know about, the holidays, the conferences, all of this stuff. So when you're developing your content, you should really focus on 3 specific tiers. This is what I do, but I think it would really benefit your business as well. So when you're planning your content, the number one thing I want you to remember is your content should be designed to solve a specific problem of your audience. So don't just post something because you think it's cute. That post should be some way tied to a problem that you can solve for them. So 3 tiers that I focus on, and you can too in your business, is tier number 1, education. So that's value-based content. That means you're educating your followers, new content, contacts, whoever it is, on different aspects of your business, and you're providing value. So think of content along the lines of frequently asked questions. What are some things that people always ask you or want to know about? Make a bank of those questions and create a post about it. Another really important thing to do that I just did last month was survey your audience. What do they actually want to know, and what do they actually care about? Because we can sit back and plan our content and think we know what they want, but if we're not asking them, we really don't know. Tier number 2, inspiration. So one of your goals as a coach is probably to inspire others to make positive changes, healthy lifestyle choices. And most people, honestly, they want that too, but aren't sure how to go about it. So inspiration and posts like these are really important to kind of breadcrumb the content and the value that you want. Plus, these are the biggest types of posts that go viral. And make them like super hilarious if you can. Make them extremely relatable. All of those things are really going to help. Tier number 3, curate from your community. This means you don't have to create all of your content. Pull content from other people. So if you have other people that you look to in your field, or they have a similar approach to your audience, you can go to their Instagram page, perhaps, screenshot their picture that you really love, and share it on your feed. The most important part that you should remember about this is if you share somebody else's picture, make sure you give proper credit to them, because otherwise you're like violating Instagram's terms of service. And just because you're planning your content like using these 3 tiers doesn't mean that you should leave off room to be spontaneous or have live interactions with your followers. The biggest secret to planning and creating your content so that it converts and influences others is to help people change the way they think. So that's really should be your ultimate goal here. So here's a simple solution for you when you're creating content, is to create a content bank. So you know how like all of our best ideas happen in the shower, or probably in bed, like trying to go to sleep, or while you're driving. So our mind runs all day long. How you feel, what you're thinking, how something relates to something else. You need to make a point to write them down, preferably in the content calendar that you're going to create, or in this content bank for future use. So what exactly is a content bank that I'm talking about? This is like all of your ideas put together in one spot for you to come back to for when you're actually writing down and scheduling your content. So when I create content, I sort my content into categories so I can stay organized and productive, and I kind of focus on my strategy at hand. And it's going to save you a ton of time. So figuring out what your content buckets would be your first step. And it's pretty simple. Go back to all of your previous social media posts that you've paid attention to when you did your social media audit. And what are some things that really related to your audience and your avatar? But don't also be afraid to experiment, try new things too, and see how those work. So just like some ideas that you could create in your content bank for categories. Quotes, behind the scenes looks. If you create blogs, those would be great to put in a separate category. Nutrition tips, health tips, exercise videos if that's something that you do, quotes, personal development, your recommendations or quotes from personal development, recipes, all of those. But the most important part that you should think about when you're creating your categories is it true to your brand, and is it true to you? Because all of that matters. If you're doing something that's not true to yourself, it's not going to resonate with anyone. So a few things to get started. Create a photo library. So you should always be taking a ton of photos. So let's say you're at an event and the lighting is perfection. Take a ton of photos. So no one's going to realize in 5 months down the road that these are old pictures. And with creative cropping, you can use the same photo like 5 different ways. You just have to be creative in it. Also, when I'm scrolling on Instagram or Facebook, if I find something that really resonates or inspires me, I'm going to save it. So Facebook and Instagram both have that save feature. So I push the save feature, and if you hold it just a little bit longer, you can sort them into categories, which is also going to help staying organized. If you're on Pinterest, use a secret board to save all of those ideas. So another idea for your content bank is to repurpose your content. Now, this is a huge one, and if you don't do anything else to save time, this should be your number one. So if you're creating content, like new content once a day, every day of the year, that is a ton of original content. How much of that content could you tweak just a little so that you could reuse it in 3 months, 6 months, or even next week? So for example, if you created a blog or even a long form social media post, and by that I mean like multiple paragraphs of information for social media, you could edit it and repurpose it into 2 to 3 smaller social media posts for use 3 months down the road, quick videos for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, 3 to 7 tweets if you're on Twitter, an email newsletter, quote graphics, and etc. So there's all sorts of different ways to repurpose one piece of content. So step 2, creating your content. And so your challenge, hopefully by the end of this, is that you're going to be able to cut your social media creation schedule in half. So for a lot of people, when you're creating your content, you feel either really overwhelmed or you lack the consistency to gain traction on social media, because consistency is king. Like content is queen, but consistency is king is something that I've seen people say. If you fall into either of those, your business is really going to suffer. So one of my big solutions for you is batching your creation process, which is going to give you a lot of time back into your schedule. So I took a poll before, when I was starting like getting all my ideas for tonight. I took a poll in a Facebook group, and I asked, how many hours per week do you spend creating content for your social media? And the average number I got was 4 hours per week. That is a lot. Like, imagine if you could cut that time in half and then spend 2 hours on other revenue producing tasks in the business. So that's where my challenge is going to come in. I really want you to try and cut your social media creation schedule in half. So your super simple solution is to batch your content. So that's going to be how you solve this problem. You're going to be able to add time in your schedule weekly just by batching content. So just as you create a time slot in your calendar for working out, you need to create a time slot in your calendar where this is your primary focus, and give yourself a deadline. So for example, if you're going to sit down for an hour a week, you know you should be creating at least 10 pieces of original content for that hour. So create that goal and that deadline, and you'll achieve it. So I'm going to use my business as an example. So I spend on average 2 hours a month for creating all of my social media content. And this is kind of the breakdown that I use. So week 1, I create any motivational graphics and I schedule. Week 2, I create like any frequently asked questions or other type of infographics, and then I schedule them. Week 3, I add in photos, real life photos, not graphics, with captions, and schedule them. And then week 4, I fill in the blanks. So I'm spending 30 minutes each week, and I know exactly what I'm going to do, and I sit down and I get it done. Now, you also have to remember, I've created my 90-day content plan, so I already know what I'm going to post. It's just taking the content from my content bank and then creating the graphic and scheduling. So another one of my simple solutions for creating this content is to use templates. And this is one of the reasons that I'm able to save so much time. If you're not using templates in your business or even in like daily life, in general, you're gonna really miss the mark on streamlining and being productive. So some ideas that you can create templates for: content-wise, invites to groups, create interest lists to topics that are related to your avatar, address rejections that you currently get, motivation template, images you could, which is where I save kind of the most of my time, is correctly sized graphics for all of my platforms. So for like Instagram, that's a different size. For Facebook, that's a different size. For Instagram stories, that's a different size. So all of those are going to be templates and they're ready to go. Any branded graphics with your logo, your colors, your font. Save your Instagram stories ahead of time as much as possible, and any like promotional graphics that you can easily switch out. So I use Canva, and it's probably like the best graphic design tool that I would ever suggest, because you can save these templates and you kind of have a hub, easy to switch out and resize. So if you have the budget, I would definitely suggest like the paid version. It's only, I think, $10 a month, but it's really worth it to save the amount of time you're going to save. So step 3, schedule your content. This is a really big time saver, and the more time that you save using this, the more time you're going to have for other areas of your business. So one of the common questions I get when I mention, why don't you just schedule your content? Everyone always says, well, if I schedule my content, my reach or my engagement is really going to suffer. And I think a lot of people have that assumption because for so long that kind of was the case. But right now, like, as we all know, like, Facebook loves to change things up on us. Like, they change the algorithms, there's new ads, there's a new layout. It's not because Facebook is some big, mean monster. It's really because they're doing what they believe is best for the community, and sometimes they do, you know, make a few extra bucks off of us, but that is business for you. So also an important note that I want to say is I really hope that everyone's using a like page or a business page to run your business. If not, I'm really encouraging you to do so, because running your business on your personal page is in violation of the Facebook terms of service. So just kind of keep that in mind. Anyways, back to the point. Facebook has updated their policies and according to like new research from Sprout Social and HubSpot, which are leaders in the social media arena, they've debunked this whole assumption that if you schedule your content, that your reach is going to be affected on social media. That's no longer the case. And you can really see that if you go to somebody's business page. If you go to my business page, all of my content is scheduled, but you're not going to know that because there's no longer underneath of the person's name, it would say like Amy Edge, and the time would be 8:31, scheduled by SmarterQ. You're not going to see that anymore because Facebook gives third-party apps the same credibility as their native scheduler. So that's not really the case anymore. If you're really if your reach is low on your Facebook page, there's other factors that you should consider and improve on, such as are you posting when your audience is online? Are you posting consistently? Are you providing value-based content? If you're engaging with your followers. So those are really going to be what affects your reach and engagement. So some of the tools that I use that I would suggest using, and as you can see, I only use 3 tools. I keep it very simple. The first 2 are my primary tools that I use, and then everything else is like a supplemental tool. So for Instagram, I use Later, and it has a free plan, but it also has tiered paid plans if you're interested. But some of the reasons why I use Later is, you know, that photo library that we were talking about earlier, that photo bank. You took all of those pictures at that event that have perfect lighting, and now you can upload them all to this one scheduler and have them at your fingertips and easy scheduling right there. So it has that media library. It also allows you to tag photos. So all of those categories in your content bank that we were talking about, now you can tag them according. So it's easy to sort. And it also has that preview feed ability, so you can see what your feed looks like beforehand. So visual, it has to be visually appealing on Instagram. And also, if you do Instagram stories, which you should definitely be doing if you are focusing on Instagram, because more people watch Instagram stories than are going to see the content on your Instagram feed, you should create your Instagram story templates or use photos that you've used before and store them on Later or whatever app that you're using. And then you can easily re-download them to your phone, because Instagram stories only pulls like your last pictures from the last 24 hours. So now you can just easily re-download it to your phone and kind of like screw Instagram up. They're not really going to know. So for evergreen content and all of my other platforms, I use SmarterQueue. So evergreen content is basically content that can be used any time of the year. It's not specific to a holiday or season or whatever it is. So it really allows me to repurpose and reschedule content on my Facebook page. And it saves me time because it automates it all for me. Once I put it into SmarterQueue, I never touch it again. So if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see I probably post, or SmarterQueue posts for me, 3 to 4 times per day. But I only create 4 posts that are new to Facebook each week. So that's a ton of content that's been repurposed. And I take it, load it, assign it a schedule, and it does the rest for me. So that has really kind of decreased my time with scheduling, and it's also doubled my reach on Facebook, even though I'm not spending a lot of time there. And I really believe that it's the consistency that's provided. So the final tool that I use, and I basically use it one time like every 4 months or so. It automates my Twitter and my LinkedIn. So if you have those accounts but you're not actively using them, my suggestion is either actively use them or close them. Don't just let them sit there and do nothing. So Zapier allows me to create a specific rule that says every time I post XYZ on Facebook, it'll automatically post to my LinkedIn or to my Twitter, whatever it is. So it's automated. There's nothing else I have to do. So those are really like all of the tools in my content creation process. It's just 3 steps, and it has different ways that you can free up time and make it shorter. I didn't recreate a wheel or anything like that, and it's probably all things that you've heard before, and it's all about putting the pieces together and then creating the strategy that's going to really work for you. But the main thing I would like for you to take away is that in order to be successful with any plan, like any strategy, is to plan. Planning is really the secret sauce to your business, and it can really increase your productivity. And that's really all that I have.
You killed it. So much value. Like, what did I write down? Oh, I loved the whole, what are questions that people always ask me? And then like making a bank of those questions so that I could just like make post after post, not in a row, but just within my scheduling wheel of like answering objections or fears or, whatever. Like that was just huge for me and a great takeaway, because literally I'm answering the same thing every single day. Like, why wouldn't I just make it like a public thing so that people know? Because sometimes too, guys, especially in our business, people just don't understand all that goes into like a package. So if like we explain certain things more in depth, like breadcrumbing a little bit at a time, we might answer somebody's question that then gives them the confidence to reach out and be like, I was so scared to reach out to you because I didn't know XYZ, but then you made that post and now it's so clear to me, blah, blah, blah. So that was awesome. Thank you so much for doing that and taking your time. Guys, are you taking any questions? Will you take questions if you have them? Any questions, guys?
Okay, so I looked at the group chat, and well, you guys are very sweet. I will share the PowerPoint, and I've seen Plan. I love Plan too. But if you guys have questions, like even on the recording, if they want to tag me in the group or send me a message, that works for me too.
Yeah, Amy's in our team page, guys. So if you watch back and you have any specific questions, just put them in the comments of our team call link from tonight, and Amy will respond in there to get back to everybody. Yes, Tiara, she will share the PowerPoint. She told us at the beginning of the call, she's like, I'll share my PowerPoint, I'll share my notes, I'll share it all. I got you.
Whatever for you, you can have it.
Yeah. So just because, we're all like super heartfelt to the core, like we talk about our business so much as like, sorry, they're baking in there in the kitchen. We talk so much about like our driving force and, why we get up every day and why our business is a priority. Do you think that you could share with us like what your driving force is and like what makes you get up every day? Because at the end of the day, like being an entrepreneur is so awesome and so rewarding, but it's still a job. And sometimes I think this job is way harder than just getting up every day and clocking in to a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Because it's up to us completely. So what would you say is like has been your biggest motivation to just show up and do this work and put in this time to be proactive in your business? Because your dream is obviously pretty big here.
So I would say, well, first let me just preface that by saying the reason why I started this business was because I was tired of just being a wife and a mom. I had been a wife and a mom for so long that I kind of lost who I was and what I liked and my hobbies, that I was just known as that. So I kind of started this, didn't know anything, and I was like, I want to do this. I'm going to teach myself. I'm going to be proactive, and I want to better myself ultimately. Is kind of the reason why I started this. But when I started, I didn't think I'd be as successful or doing this full time like I am now. The reason why I get up each morning and I'm like running reports or creating XYZ for someone is because I value what you guys bring to the table. And even though I might be not be a coach, and I might just be supporting you from the back end of your business, I feel like anytime you have a success, I'm just a little bit of that, a very like small piece of it. But that makes me feel good about myself. I think another thing that really kind of makes me jump out of bed and like sit at my computer, even though there's screaming going in the background from my 4 kids, is knowing that I kind of want more than just clocking in and clocking out, and kind of want to take that responsibility on myself. Yeah. And it might be just a little bit of a difference in the world, but at least it's something. Yeah. So that's kind of like how I see it.
That's so awesome. So awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm not sure if are you taking more clients?
Depends if it's the right client.
Okay. So just say that somebody on the team, needed help with a website or some graphics or just something. Do you tailor packages or do anything like that for people?
Definitely. If you're just looking for like something one-off, I can definitely get that done. Yeah. If it's a monthly thing, I think I just want to talk to you, make sure we're a good fit for one another. Yeah. And I can work out a customized plan that's you or suits them. So it's every person's different, every coach is different, and I want to support each person as best as I can.
Yeah, well, I can say that you have been amazing to me and just so sweet and thoughtful. And I know that Jessica, you can probably say the same because you get to work with Jess as well. We're so appreciative of you, and thank you so much for hanging out with my team tonight. I know that for some reason, everyone's like hiding their faces tonight, but you probably recognize so many of these names because
I do.
You get to recognize them every week in the graphics and stuff. So,
well, I get to also stalk their Facebook pages when I have to like find different graphics. So that helps too. Yeah. But let me also say that if you have a question or you just want advice, I'm more than willing to give you my advice or to give you a couple of tips and you don't have to pay me. Like, it's free of charge if you just have a couple questions.
Well, hey, now that you've done the call, don't be surprised if like once a month I'm gonna be like, hey, Amy, I need you to go live on my Facebook page right now and give me 10 minutes of your top whatever tip to help the team this month.
I can do it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And like I said, I just appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Okay. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
All right. See you later.
Bye.